Linda Parks is Ventura County Supervisor for Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park, Westlake Village, Lynn Ranch, Oak Park, Santa Rosa Valley, Bell Canyon, Hidden Valley, Lake Sherwood, Malibu, Yorba Linda, Naval Base Ventura County, Point Magoo, and South Coast. Supervisor Parks previously served as a planning commissioner, city council member, and mayor for the city of Thousand Oaks, California. Supervisor Parks received her master's degree in urban planning from the University of Washington and her undergraduate degree from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She's been honored with the Carla Bard Environmental Integrity and Public Service Award from the Environment Defense Center, the Walk the Talk Award from the Heal the Bay, and the Edward L. Marzi Integrity in the Community Service Award. Ms. Parks has been married for 27 years, has 4 children ages 18 to 24 years old. Welcome to the show, Linda. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, what a delight to have you in studio. And, the first question on everybody's mind is you're mounting a campaign for the U.S. House of Representatives for this newly created 26th Congressional District, which covers pretty much most of the county except for Simi Valley. And the question on everybody's mind is, why are you running?
You can always run for Congress, but I am so inspired right now because what I think we need in Congress are people who can work with both Republicans and Democrats. And right now there's just such partisan gridlock. They're not working together. And so I think we need someone like myself who has always done that, worked with Republicans and Democrats. But also the second thing is that we need people who aren't beholden to special interests. And that's something else I'm very strong with, that we need to make sure that we don't have Congress people taking money from special interests and then voting for them. They need to be voting for us and representing us. So I don't take any special interest money. And I'm hoping with my win that others will be emboldened to run campaigns without taking special interest money.
Well, I want to come back and talk about that in some detail, but I just want to come back to your basic idea of running, because Congress has a notoriously low approval rating right now. It's only at 18%. In my lifetime, I cannot remember it being lower than that. Why would you want to involve yourself in that sort of melee back in Washington, D.C. with such a low approval rating?
I think because if we don't have people willing to stand up against those things that we don't like about Congress, nothing's going to change. And that's what inspires me, to see people in Congress who are moderates. And it was unfortunate. We're seeing now, like Olympia Snowe is retiring, that we're seeing the moderates leaving. And so I think more than ever, we need people there who are not in the extremes, but someone who is willing to work with both Republicans and Democrats. And that's what inspires me. It's because Congress is broken that we need people like myself.
And you're going to be the mechanic to fix it. My guest is Linda Parks. So, Linda, you talk about change. You recently had to make a change to your voter registration status in order to be able to run. Explain the circumstances behind that. Why did you have to change party allegiance?
I didn't have to change. I wanted to change. I have been a moderate Republican and got pretty much blasted by the GOP here in Ventura County when Audra Strickland ran against me in 2010. They spent, between the two of them, almost $750,000. But I feel more independent than I do a Republican or a Democrat, and I was a Democrat for the first part of my life. So it fits me so well, and I really feel good about being an independent. And what's really cool is that California, for the first time, has an open primary where you can actually have an independent on the ballot, and I love it. I think this is exactly what we need right now in this time in our nation. We need people that can work on both sides of the aisle and aren't caught up in the partisanship and really extreme partisanship that we're seeing.
All right, my guest is Linda Parks. So, Linda, kind of project forward. What would you hope to accomplish in your first term in Congress if you were elected?
I have a few things that I'm looking towards, and obviously I would love to get a bipartisan committee together. I mean, if you can't work together, you can't get anything done. But obviously what we need to get done is to be doing work for helping to create jobs, stimulate job growth, and also the economy. And this Congress can't even pass a budget, and I think that's really important too. And I like the idea that if they can't pass the budget, they shouldn't get pay.
Well, now
It
that
worked-
is an interesting concept.
It worked in the state of California, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
We required them to pass the budget or not get their pay. Their pay got cut, and they passed that budget.
Imagine how that works. Well, all right, Linda, so give us some of your ideas for job creation, because, I mean, here you are on the Board of Supervisors in Ventura County, and you sort of have that ability here at the county level. So what would you do on a national level to help stimulate job growth?
Well, one thing that I've done recently at the county, actually, is to assist students who have just graduated and become accredited in healthcare to be able to get on-the-job training. Because you can end up with a degree, but you can't get a job because you don't have work experience. So I think being able to get on-the-job training, and also particularly for veterans, because we're having a lot of veterans coming back, and they need to be able to assimilate into the work world. I think we also can do things to stimulate employers to hire. We can do things, for example, reduce the payroll tax for new hires. And I think also, in addition to job training, here in Ventura County, we need to make sure we protect our naval base. That is 8,000 civilian and military jobs that we have there. So that's important to keep what we have. Our agriculture industry is a huge economic generator in Ventura County. So I think it's also important to be able to do what we can to support agriculture. And then you look at the kind of infrastructure that we need in California. We have a delta system that if there is an earthquake, we could lose our water supply in Southern California for years. We need to invest in infrastructure. And again, that also is jobs, but needed infrastructure. I'm not heavy on trying to do a bullet train. I think we need first to do those things that we have to do. And we also attract businesses here with just our high quality of life. So there's a lot of things that I see that we can do. Investing in higher education is another one. We see companies in my district like Amgen and Baxter. They're actually importing people, workers from overseas. But to be able to invest in the sciences and the maths, I think that will help to also increase the knowledge of our workforce so they're being hired here. And there are other things. For example, Ventura County now is focusing on local hire. How can we get American corporations to stay here and not go overseas? And we need to have those kind of incentives too. So there's many things that I see that we can do. And it's not just my plan. I do have a jobs plan, but I'm willing to listen to anybody's plan. It's not whether you're a Republican or a Democrat that you're putting out that plan. I think the goal is to make sure that we can get one that we can all support, and I'm there to work to see that we can do that.
My guest is Linda Parks, candidate for the U.S. Congress from the newly created 26th District here in California. So, Linda, I want to return back to something you talked about before, because you're running on the idea that you will avoid lobbying interests and lobbying groups. How are you going to find the money to run an adequate campaign if you eschew these super PACs, the lobbyists, and all of the money that they have to offer?
Right. I, for example, just received the endorsement of the Ventura County Deputy Sheriff's Association. The deputies support me, but I don't take union money. And I don't take special interest money, PAC money, party money, corporate money, just individuals. And that way, when I do win, it will send a message to the nation that this is the way you run a campaign. You're not beholden to anyone. And so I'm doing it with individuals, and I have hundreds and hundreds of individuals who are contributing to me. And to me, it's the most clean campaign you can have. It's the only way to do it in my mind, and I wouldn't do it any other way.
Well, even President Obama has had to reverse his position on this. Now he's accepting money from super PACs to run for re-election. What does that tell you about the nature of modern campaigns if even the president, who vowed he would not take money from super PACs, has now reversed his position on that?
You know, I was really disappointed to see that. Because he can certainly marshal the resources without having a super PAC. And I am very discouraged with that. But I think one of the things we need to do is look at the fact that we allow super PACs to begin with, and that whole Citizens United Supreme Court decision that allowed for that. So this is something I feel very strongly about. I did campaign reform, the first campaign reform measure for the city of Thousand Oaks. And then I was the poster child for the campaign reform we did for the county of Ventura. But we absolutely need to have accountability. We need to know who these PACs are, as well as we need to make sure that individuals such as myself can run campaigns without getting totally dominated by PACs that are funded by outside interests.
My guest is Linda Parks. So, Linda, let's get down to brass tacks. How much money do you think it will take for you to win a congressional seat? I mean, Steve Bennett, who has since dropped out of the race, raised $241,000 before he dropped out of the race. How much do you think it will take for you to win a seat in Congress?
Right now I am a front runner by a wide margin. Tony Strickland, as the math works out, will be in the general election. I'm the next highest in terms of having that opportunity to get into the general by a wide margin. And if I can continue this margin, I will end up in the general and I will win. That's the way I look at it. And in terms of how much money, I would think at least $500,000. So I'm on my way there. But I think, again, the most important thing is to make sure that we have good people in Congress. You know that I'm going to vote for the interests of the citizens, and you know that because I'm not taking the special interest money. And we do have my opponent, for example, is funded by cigarette companies and oil companies, Chevron, and Indian casinos. And, is he going to really be representing my interests, or is he going to be representing the interests of those people who fund his campaign? So it's the clean campaign. It's the way to go. And fortunately, I have a solid record. People know where I stand.
All right. My guest is Linda Parks. Now, Linda, you currently are serving as the on the Ventura Board of Supervisors for the County of Ventura. So the question is, if you run for Congress, is Ventura County in good enough condition for you to leave your current post as a supervisor?
When I came on the Board of Supervisors, we had a structural deficit, and since I've been there, we have managed to balance our budget every year since I've been on, and also achieved a significant 10% reserve, got our bond rating up. We are in really good stead financially. We have an incredible CEO, Mike Powers, and I'm very proud that we are able to recruit him and bring him on. So I feel that the county is in very good stead fiscally, has some real good staff members assisting the Board of Supervisors, and a very caring Board of Supervisors too. So I feel very confident that the county is in good hands, and I'm glad that I was a part of that.
All right, let me follow on with another question then. If you leave and do go to the U.S. House of Representatives, what does that do to the balance of power on the Board of Supervisors?
Well, it's an interesting thing. People don't know that if I am elected, it creates a vacancy, and the vacancy is filled by governor's appointment, not by not by appointment, not by our election, just the governor. And so that is something that will last probably until the coming election after my election, and then residents will be able to vote again. And in our city, I know we have some good folks that would make excellent members of the Board of Supervisors.
And we'll have to talk to those folks and get their ideas on what they
Yes.
would do as boards of supervisors.
I like the thought. It's a really positive thought when they start fighting over who's going to get Linda's seat. I think, well, this sounds good. That means Linda may well end up in Congress. And I want to assure, too, that we have some good folks on the Board of Supervisors.
My guest is Linda Parks, a candidate for the United States House of Representatives from the 26th District. Linda, if people are interested, they want to learn more about you, learn more about your campaign, where would you direct them to go on the Internet?
I have a website, and it is sendlinda.com. And my son helped me put it together, and it's a great website. I hope people will go on. It gives you an opportunity to give me your input on that website or sign up to do some grassroots work with us. It has my platform there. And obviously, you can always contribute if you're an individual. I don't take money from corporations or PACs or unions or any special interests.
That is great. My guest has been Linda Parks. Linda, it's been a delight. Thank you so much for coming in the studio and being my guest on the show. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you.